bad timing, and still got a little bit of it going on, but it really knocked me off my feet for a little bit there. And I know you guys have all probably had experiences where you've been sick or had something happen, and that's what just so you know a little bit about me, that's what makes me, I think, a pretty flexible professor, in the sense of I do understand that you guys have lots of things that you're doing. You've got different probably sports or other after school activities that you're participating in, work, family, other classes. So I do try to be flexible. But at the same time reasonable. You know, we have to work within the confounds of what we've agreed to do, and you guys have agreed to take this class, and it's a commitment. So I will be giving you a course calendar, and my expectation is that you, whatever you use to pace yourself, most of you by this point in your schooling should have either some type of an electronic or hard copy calendar that you carry to keep you on point with everything that you have coming up. So when I upload that calendar this week, my expectation is that you go ahead and look at everything that's going to be due throughout the semester. What that allows you to do is if there's a week where there's not as much due, or maybe you have more going on one week than the other, it allows you to pace yourself, because just because something's due one particular week doesn't mean that you might necessarily be able to work on it that week. You know, you may want to work 2 weeks ahead. Spring break is a good example. So there's no assignments due that week, so that's a week that you can say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and work ahead because I know the following week I have X, Y, and Z going on. So I will be giving you your course calendar. But for right now, I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what was coming up over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to switch views so that I can, so you should still be able to see me here. I'm in a student preview screen, so I'm seeing what you see when you go to the class. You'll see here where the announcements are. At the point in time that you see this video, this announcement will be embedded here. So here on this front page is where you'll be able to actually see this announcement. You'll notice that content and assignments, I'm clicking there. This is the week that you just completed. And then you've got 2 folders here. So you've got the 22nd through the 3rd, and then you've got the 4th through the 17th. So I'm going to click on the week here. I want to just give you a helpful tip here, and let's see if it works the same way that it does for you. Maybe not. I am able to actually close this out so I can see everything below it. Maybe that won't work for you. So what I have on my screen is over here in the far right. I have a little icon so that I could collapse everything, but neither here nor there. So there's everything that's in red is, I try to do that so that it stands out to you for graded assignments. I'll come back to that. I'm going to go down. You've got chapter 16 and 17. So we've obviously already looked at chapter 16 and 17, but this is more material so that you can go back and make sure that you have all the information that you need, all the content. And then chapter 18 is new in this folder. So you've got 3 chapters. So what does that look like when you click into it? You've got all your files. So that's what you have for each of the 3 chapters. And then, so what is due? So there's a pretty significant assignment due. So I'm going to go through those. Let me just scroll down, make sure everything is visible here for you. These are all the instructions. So I'm going to go back up to that assignment, but I just want to make sure you can see this. In fact, maybe I'll put this at the top. I'll try to move this to the top so you can see it. So there's a discussion board, and you can see the directions here for your discussion board. That should be pretty cut and dry. I mean, it speaks for itself. The one thing that I just want to make sure that I emphasize to you for discussion boards is please make sure that you are reading the rubric and the prompt. That's really the two ways that you would lose points easily, or maybe you could avoid losing points, should I say, is just make sure you read the prompt and that you fulfill each part of the prompt and that you read the rubric. Think about value added. What are you adding to a discussion board? So the discussion board is not a place where you just kind of regurgitate what you've read. This is a place for true discussion where we're extending our learning. So just make sure that you read the prompt, read the rubric, and keep that in mind about the extension of the learning. So then I'm going to go back up here because this is, as you see, a pretty long assignment. So the gist of this assignment, called the historical challenge, is that you print this document right here, the document that's in blue that says historical challenge, meaning of emancipation. So you're going to print that, and then you're going to work through part 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that document that you printed, you're filling it out. So you're writing sentences, responses to these 4 different parts of the assignment that's here. And when you click on there, there's actually a way in Blackboard for you to upload that completed assignment. So you type into your response, and then that becomes a Word document, and your Word document is then uploaded. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to click here into the folder, and this is actually where you upload your assignment. So here's where you upload and then you submit. So I don't know if you can see that or not there. Okay, so we go back. So you've got this 2-week folder. That's 2 pretty significant assignments that are due on by February the 3rd. So you have the historical challenge, and then you have the discussion board. Please make sure that on the discussion board that you note that the initial response is due first before your replies, because obviously your classmates have to have time to see your post and then respond. So every discussion board, your initial post will be due sooner than the replies. And on this one, the case is January 30th, and then the replies will be due February 3rd. So when I upload that course calendar this week, I'll put it into the actual course calendar, but then I'll give you a printout, like a Word document that you can download, and it'll have all the different weeks and all the different assignments. All of that will be reflected there, but I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So that's that week, and then you've got the next 2 weeks that follows that. And it's pretty much the same deal, except for you don't have the historical challenge. So I'll just go down. You have chapters 19, 20, and 21. And then you have a folder called Scholarly Sources, Citations, and References. And that information is going to be something that you'll need for your discussion boards. So here, that folder, all of these folders are your information for the content. And then when you click on your graded assignment, you'll see that there's a discussion board. And this discussion board is pretty in-depth as far as in what's required. Excuse me. So I encourage you, again, like I said before with the discussion boards, make sure you read the prompts very carefully and make sure that you also read the rubric. Now, let's talk a little bit about, go back here. So let's talk a little bit about the course and the requirements. So in a college class, the pacing and the assignments, they work a little differently than it would in a high school class where you're there for an extended period of time every day, or mostly every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with Mr. Stewart on some assignments, and basically he'll choose what assignments he's going to give to you and what will go into the grade book. What's here in these Blackboard folders, this is all the Columbus Tech grade side of the course. But there will be additional assignments that are assigned by Mr. Stewart, and those will go into your grade book there at Chatco. So I'm working on that. That will be all part of the course calendar. What you'll see is on one side, you'll see everything that's due for me as far as in the university side, but then you'll also see what I'm going to call this is supplemental materials. And those supplemental materials will be based on what's going on in class. So Mr. Stewart might find that you guys have, I don't know, assemblies or holidays, or I know oftentimes there might be pep rallies or something, so your schedule might be altered and you might not have classes much. So he may decide to curtail some of those assignments, those additional assignments. On the opposite end, if he finds that you guys have worked through a lot of the course materials, for example, this February 4th to February 17th, there's a discussion board that's due. So how are we going to supplement what you're doing in the class? So Mr. Stewart will have kind of a repository of materials, and he'll be able to choose what that looks like for the class. And so there'll be two grade books, basically. You have your grade book for Columbus Tech, which is in Blackboard, and then you also have Power School, I believe is what you guys use at Chatco. So there may be additional assignments in there. You're equally responsible for both. This class can't stand alone without those assignments from that class. From this class itself in Blackboard doesn't stand alone from your class there at Chatco. And so they're managed separately, but you are still equitably or equally responsible for the assignments that are here and or done in class. So anyway, that's a little bit for the week. That should get you started. Certainly the materials here in the January 22nd through the February 3rd content folder, I think, is plenty enough to get you started for the week. I'm going to touch base with Mr. Stewart this week and go ahead and get him those supplemental materials. For all of you, I will get you that calendar. Again, I really appreciate everyone's patience. And I will probably send you another video next Sunday. Other than that, I will have everything uploaded for you. Have a good night.